Hello, beautiful ladies. Welcome to Ladies Handle Your Business, where we empower women to be their best selves by handling their business in every area of life. We believe when you are whole, mind, body, soul, and spirit, you are unstoppable and able to achieve the highest level of success in your business, career, finances, relationships, family, marriage, health, mental wellness, and spirituality. Your host is Tanya Valrice Johnson. Tanya is on a mission to help women discover their assignments and propel them into their destiny. Because, ladies, your time is now.
Hello, beautiful ladies, and happy Saturday, and welcome to Ladies Handle Your Business. I am Tanya Valrice Johnson. I am your host today. I'm your mindset motivator, your empowerment encourager, success strategy, and destiny driver. I am on a mission to help women achieve wholeness in every area of their life. I am so super excited about our show today. But before we go ahead and go into our show, I want to remind you to do a couple of things. If you can go ahead and share and invite your friends to watch our show today. A couple of other things that I want to mention is we have some really exciting things coming up the beginning of the year. We have Fun Day Fridays, which I talked to you a couple of weeks ago about that. That's going to be coming up the beginning of the year. We have Mindset Minutes, which will be coming up at the beginning of the year from some of our coaches and our special guests, were 3 to 5 minute videos just to get you started with your day, like having a cup of coffee, just to uplift you a little bit in the morning. Sometimes we struggle in the mornings to get our day started. So these mindset minutes from our coaches and some of our special guests, past, present, and future guests that we will have, will really encourage you, inspire you, and uplift you. Well, I don't want to hold you up again. I am so excited about our show today. We're talking about soul care, and it's so interesting that we're talking about this because over this last few weeks, I really know that this is going to be a show that is going to benefit me as well. So we're going to take just about a 30-second break. And when we come back, we'll have our special guest and we're going to dive right into our show today. Stay tuned, ladies. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, beautiful ladies. Are you tired of not being happy, not being fulfilled in life, overwhelmed, or out of balance? Are you unsure of life's purpose? Is fear holding you back from walking in your God-given assignment? Are you ready to live a life of wholeness in mind, body, soul, and spirit? You deserve to live a life of abundance, overflow, and achieve the highest level of success in your business, career, finances, relationships, family, marriage, health, mental wellness, and spirituality. Ladies, if you are ready to transform your life, live authentically, and live your best life now, then Ladies Handle Your Business is for you. Join our private Facebook community today because, ladies, your time is now.
Welcome back, ladies. Welcome back. So glad that you are joining us today. So remember, if you have any comments, don't forget to put them in the chat. Miss Amanda is behind the scene. She's monitoring all of your comments. Again, don't forget to share this show today and invite your friends to be a part of the show. So we want to go ahead and get started. Today on Ladies Handle Your Business show, we have our special guest, Miss Shelia Battle. And Shelia, before we get started, I love your background. I love all those positive affirmations that you have back there.
Yes, his banner over me is love. That's what it is.
I have a most interesting story, ladies, about Shelia real quick that I want to share. So when we started Ladies Handle Your Business and we started the show, I had just been praying about the different topics. And one of the topics that came up was soul care. And it actually happened to be one of the first topics that I had written down. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what is soul care exactly? I'm not really sure what that is. What in the world does that mean? And Sheila and I've been Facebook friends for a very, very, very long time. And so I follow her on Facebook and her posts, and her and her husband, the Battle Station, and she'll talk to you briefly about that as well. And so one day I go back on a Facebook and it said Sheila Soul Care Battle. Now, as long as we have been Facebook friends, and I told Amanda this, I had never seen the soul care part. And I was like, what? And so I started looking at her and I was like, come on, Jesus, look at you. And so I sent her a text and I said, no, I messaged her first. And then we connected by phone. And I was like, Sheila, what in the world is this soul care thing about? And she blew my mind. And I was like, what in the world? So ladies, you are in for a treat today. I am telling you. And after the week that I've had, here's what I love about Ladies Handle Your Business and us being on a journey to wholeness. It's not just you out there that are joining us live by Facebook or YouTube. I'm on this journey also. And I'm telling you, the last few weeks that I've had, I am so excited about this show. Had technical difficulties, never had technical. I said, oh no, we are going to talk about soul care today because this information has to go forth. And you, like we need to hear about this information. So without further ado, ladies, let's help welcome Miss Shelia Battle. Welcome, Sheila. Thank you so much for joining our show today.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. You know what? I refer to every woman I meet as beautiful. I call women beautiful all day, every day.
Yes.
One of the reasons why is because I'm almost 50 and I can't remember everybody's name. But the other reason I do it is because the looks on women's faces. When I say, hey, beautiful, they look startled. And some women haven't been called beautiful directly by someone in so long.
Yes.
I don't know what to do. I've been in grocery stores and said, hey, beautiful, and a woman burst into tears.
Oh.
So I love that that's part of your flow. It's part of your rhythm, and it was in your video. I kept watching. I said, "Yeah, we're on the same page."
I tell you, that's how God aligns people and connect people. Well, Sheila, I know a little bit about you, and again, I follow you on Facebook. But would you just go ahead and tell the ladies a little bit about yourself? Let's start there.
So I'm really still learning how to say this in 5 seconds or less. Right?
Take your time. We have an hour.
Okay. So my name is Shelia Battle, and I'm married into the Battle family. And so I don't know all of them because somebody always comes and says, are you cousins with so-and-so Battle? I don't know. I've never been. But our home is affectionately referred to as the Battle Station.
I love it.
And in its inception, the reason people were calling our house that was because every Monday night, people would assemble in our home for prayer. And the reason that got started was because I'm a 2-time cancer survivor, and I was told that I would not be able to have kids. And I got pregnant. And so some folks who we were in covenant with at church decided that for the 40 weeks of my pregnancy, they were going to stand in the space where this child was being nurtured and pray for 1 hour every month. So that's kind of how it got started. What it transitioned to over the years is a place of refuge for the saints.
Love that. And
for the ain'ts. And now what it is that we live in open community. Our home is open pre-COVID. Our home is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to our community. And so if I'm the nosy neighbor, right? So when I go for my 2-mile walk, I'm the neighbor who notices that Miss Jane, who is 80 years old, has cat food containers in her recycling bin, but she doesn't have cats. So that makes me knock on her door and say, hey, how you doing? What you eating?
Yes.
That kind of thing. And then we're also a place of refuge for these kids. And these kids just show up from 2 days old to 22 years old. And they come here, they hang out. We love on them. We minister to them. The single folks, we've had 8 weddings out of the Battle Station, people who come here and I cook, and they start to looking at each other.
Wow.
Before I know it, I'm buying a bridesmaid's dress. So all of that, all of that is what happens at the battle station, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
That is amazing. I didn't even know that part. I love the name. Every time I would see the battle station, I was like, I like that name. I wonder how that. So, ladies, you're finding out. You're hearing it here first, just like I am about the battle station. That is so great. So let's talk about soul care. And I tell you, I know that we are going to have more than one conversation about soul care, more than one interview, because when you and I were first talking about it, I was like, well, it's so much. So let's just start. If you can give the ladies just an overview of what soul care is and why it's so important to us becoming whole.
Yeah. Excuse me. So soul care, for me, as we defined it in practice at Active Battle Station, soul care is an invitation to engage in practices that help you renew your mind, align your will, and stabilize your emotions in a way that causes you to flourish.
Wow.
That's what soul care is for us. And we are certified soul care coaches. Like, we went through all of the things, but we developed a curriculum out of that because the curriculum that we studied under was for the saints. But how many of you know the saints are not the only ones that are broken?
That's right.
Right. So we had all of these tools and we had all of this good stuff and we were keeping it in the church. And I was saying, yeah, but some of the ladies that are in here are married to men who are not saved. Their children are not saved. And so how do you translate what you're doing in a way that makes room for everybody at the table?
Yes.
Where healing is the goal. Healing is the goal. But I'm very honest with people about the fact that it is inner work. It's not about the husband and the kids and the job and the boss and your pastor and the first. It's not about any of them. This is inner work, and it is work.
Yeah.
Work that your soul can do.
Okay. So let's start with the first one that you said. You talked about the mind. That was the first. You know what? Actually, yeah. Let's talk about that one first. Let's start there. Expound a little bit for the ladies on that one.
So a lot of there's a lot of clinical studies about the mind, right? Anybody can Google anything that you want to know about the mind. But here was one of the things that struck me. 87% of the thoughts that you think today are the exact same thoughts you thought yesterday.
Wow.
87% of the things that you will think about today are the exact same things you were thinking about yesterday. So when you look around at the landscape of your life and nothing's different, nothing's changing, why? That's why. And so if you don't make a decision to intentionally engage in some kind of practice that offers you the opportunity to renew, what am I thinking about? Renew your mind. And we talk about that in the word, but let's just make that practical. What does that mean? It means that there should be something new. There should be something new. You should have a habitual track in your thoughts that's different from the habitual tracks in your thoughts that are there all the time. So in a clinical setting, we talk about neuroplasticity. And what that means is that when you think that first thought the first time, it makes a groove. And then you think it again, and it deepens the groove. And every time you think that thought, that groove is getting deeper and deeper. So when you're offered an opportunity to choose one thought or the other, you go to your most common practice. Give you an example. I wear a bracelet that says, I am chosen, I am enough, and I am a daughter. It's a reminder to me that when I'm thinking thoughts that challenge my identity, that challenge my destiny, that I have an opportunity to think a different thing. So when all of those thoughts come up about not being good enough and your inner critic is going off and all of that and everything, renewing your mind says, I acknowledge that my thoughts are headed in this direction, but I have a choice. And I can stop myself and I can choose a different way. I can renew what my path. I can renew the path that my thoughts take. I can change, I can shift, I can pivot, but it takes practice. Because in your normal everyday walk around life, you're not going to just stop. Your thoughts take the path that they take. They travel the same landscape they've always taken. You see the same things. You think the same thoughts. The same voices come back. But in soul care, we sit down and we unpack that. Mm-hmm. First off, if you're hearing that, whose voice is it? Is it your voice? Is it your mama's voice? Is it your auntie's voice? Is it your second grade teacher's voice? Whose voice is speaking?
That's good. Yeah.
And you got to figure that out, because if you don't, then you don't know how to stop it. So it is about this renewing of the mind. And of course, we use the word of God. And for us, because our clientele ranges across the spectrum of faith.
Right.
That's sacred text is just as important to them as those 66 books are to me.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But what's beautiful is that God is bigger. And so God has shown himself strong beyond the 66 books for me. And it allows me to walk alongside people in a way that has no judgment about their faith confession.
Yeah. That's so, oh, wow. And you know what? That is so true what you said about the thoughts. I had no idea, but I can honestly tell you the same thoughts I thought on Monday are the same thoughts I thought on Tuesday and Wednesday. And that's why this week I've been struggling. I'm like, oh, I got to get to this. I've got to get to Shelia. Like, I've got to have this conversation. Shelia, before we go on, how did you become so passionate about soul care? How did that start for you?
My mama said, because I'm nosy. I don't know. I mean, I honestly, I really believe that it happened for me for a long time. My husband and I served in a ministry together. Over 20 years, we were in the church. And God pulled us out in a gracious and miraculous way. But while we were there, I was under the tutelage of an old school church mother. And I had always been, raised in prayer. Like my mother was a prayer warrior. I didn't know, we didn't have those terms back in the day. That's all new age stuff. But my mother was a absolute woman of prayer. And so I latched onto that. There was something so intimate, so personal about my mother's prayer life that I wanted that. And so I grow up, I leave home, and I come to this church, and I meet this woman, this incredible woman who's a church mother, Mother Joanne Conway, and she pulls me to her bosom. Like she can see it's on you, girl, and I'm gonna help you, right? And while she was mentoring me and molding me and shaping me, I started asking questions about this phenomenon called the altar. I wanted to understand the power of the altar. What is it about when someone gets up out of their seat and walks down to the front and says, I need prayer? Yeah. And I got addicted because I would watch God do miraculous things on the altar. I would watch marriages be healed on the altar. I would watch addiction dry up on the altar. A lady was deaf when she came in there, and she came to the altar and God opened up her ears and she could hear. And I got addicted to that. But the problem was what happens when they leave the altar. You don't came to the altar. You surrendered your will. Yes. You had this amazing experience, but you got to go back home to your abusive husband and your kids that's crazy and your bills that's stacked up on the kitchen table.
Yes.
And so soul care became that tool that God started developing in me for aftercare, after the altar, after the church service, after the revival, after the conference. What happens then? So in a sacred space, that's how it came to be. In a secular environment, the way it was matured and grew was because I used to be the superintendent for the Richmond City Department of Social Services. And every day, a social worker was sitting in my office crying and eating chocolate. And I kept thinking to myself, if a police officer arrives on the scene of a fatality, within 24 hours, that police officer has access to mental health services to help them process what they just saw.
Right.
If you are a social worker, the same is not true. If you're a teacher, the same is not true. They might have some mental health services that are connected to your benefits, but it's not something where they say, no, you come.
Yes. Yeah.
And so all of these folks who were on the front lines of human services, I was going, well, who's helping them? And God gave me a way to pull all of that aftercare, all of those tools, all of those lessons, all of those things that work, and said, this is how you're going to show me strong and prove that they work. Do it at work.
Wow.
Prove that it's not just for the deep and spooky, that it's not just for the saints. If you can take these same principles and drop them in a local county government office, then you'll know they work. The church will know that they work, and the people that you're serving will know that they work. And so we built this bridge between secular and sacred about how do we heal a heart?
Yes. Oh, that's so powerful. I love that. Wow. You have such an amazing testimony and story.
God has been great. I don't tell people that God is good. Chicken is good. God is great.
I love
it. God ain't good. God is great. Chicken is good. Chinese food is good. Tacos are good. God is great.
Yes, he is. That is so great. Well, ladies, we're going to take another 30-second break and come back with our special guest today, Shelia Battle, talking more about soul care. We'll be.
Hello, beautiful ladies. Are you tired of not being happy, not being fulfilled in life, overwhelmed, or out of balance? Are you unsure of life's purpose? Is fear holding you back from walking in your God-given assignment? Are you ready to live a life of wholeness in mind, body, soul, and spirit? You deserve to live a life of abundance, overflow, and achieve the highest level of success in your business, career, finances, relationships, family, marriage, health, mental wellness, and spirituality. Ladies, if you are ready to transform your life, live authentically, and live your best life now, then Ladies Handle Your Business is for you. Join our private Facebook community today because, ladies, your time is now.
Welcome back, ladies, to the Ladies Handle Your Business show with our special guest today, Shelia Battle, as we talk about soul care. Ladies, I'm telling you, you might need to go ahead and share this. This is so good. I just, before the break, I love what Shelia said, and Amanda just came out and she said, chicken is good. God is great.
That's right. I got that one from my daddy. My daddy used to say that.
Oh my goodness, Shelia, let me ask you. So is one of the foundations of what you do the scripture that a lot of us think about, it comes to mind in 3 John 2, where it says, "Beloved, I pray that in all respects you may prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers." Can you break that down a little bit for us? And how does that apply to what you're doing?
Wow. So there are so many scriptures that we weave into the work that we do. But I think this one is pretty self-explanatory, and I love the translation that you used because it says in all respects, in all respects, right? And so I think we have used church in a vacuum. We use church to work on certain things, certain parts, and we don't give it and the volume of what we have access to in all respects, right? So I tell people that for us, every psalm in the Bible that speaks to emotion, we couple with Proverbs. Because it takes your emotion plus wisdom
to
manage a life. You cannot get through this life not understanding your emotions. And if we can respect the writers of the Psalms and how raw they speak, how absolutely gut-wrenching honest David was. When we look at the book of Lamentation, that's one of the things too that made us get into this work. Like, people would tell people, stop crying and don't cry and just give it to God. And it's okay, well then let's take out the whole book of Lamentations. Let's just take out, like what is it about us that's making us think that? Yeah. And so for your scripture reference, this all respects is the piece that's jumping out for me. That in every area of your life, that is your life.
Yes.
It is the will of your Father that you prosper in that way. It's not just that that you die and go to heaven. That you have a whole 60, 70, 80 years between that.
Yes.
And all of you, God wants every area of your life to be in health.
Yeah.
Good health. But that health incrementally happens as your soul prospers.
Come on. Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
But here's the caveat. At the point of salvation, you get it all. But it is the living of life that unpacks it. Yeah. It is the living of this life that unpacks that. And so as you make the intention for your soul to prosper, then the health of your life elevates along with that maturity. And I think sometimes we get a little lazy, and it's just easier to eat a pint of Haagen-Dazs ice cream and get a box of tissue and sit on the sofa and cry.
I'm feeling you, because I had one of those days this past week, but I didn't get the ice cream though.
You know what? And now that we're in this pandemic and we're doing all of this isolation, it's just easier to put on TBN and listen to TD Jakes. It's just easier to put on some worship music. It's just, but what is that? And all of that has its place. Please hear me. All of that has its place, but none of it was intended for you to use as an escape not to do inner work.
Inner work. Okay.
Because if you got to forgive somebody, you can't listen to enough TD Jakes. You can't listen to enough Tasha Cobb. You can't listen to enough of any of that.
Yeah.
That excuse you. My grandma used to say, your excuses don't excuse you from what needs to be done. You can do all of that and still need to forgive.
That's right. That's so powerful. That is so powerful. Wow.
And that's what soul care work is about. It's about that part. And that's why we distinguish it from self-care. Because self-care is take a bubble bath. Self-care is go get your nails done. Self-care is go get a massage. Self-care is about relaxation. Soul care is about redemption.
Oh, that's so good.
It's the redeeming of what was lost through the experiences of your life. It's how do you get your joy back? How do you get peace back? How do you even understand what peace looks and feels like in your body so that you can know you want it back? Because see, we get in church and we say stuff and we, tell your neighbor and we repeat what the pastor says and we don't look up these words and we don't understand what they mean. So it is about that.
So let's stop right there. Then for the ladies watching today, and myself, what does that look like? What does the peace look like? What are the things that how do we identify those things that will feed our souls?
It's intention. I can't say it enough. It is intention that leads to a decision.
That's good. Intention that leads to a decision.
You have to mean what you mean. You have to mean what you mean. You have to set an intention that says, I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
This isn't working.
Yeah.
I can read 2 scriptures a day. I can lay on the floor for 30 minutes. Is it working though? Is your tone still off? Are your kids still scared? Is your marriage still sexless? Like, what's going on? If that was all it took, then why is it not working?
Yeah.
Why is the planet groaning the way that it is? If that's all it took, then why is it not working?
Yeah.
So there is this deeper inner work. And one of your questions was about, well, what exactly is the soul? We can't get to what peace and joy and hope and love, and we can't get until we identify, okay, well, what is my soul?
Yeah.
What is that, right? So let me see if I can unpack that just a little bit, because I'm trying to pay attention to this time too.
You're good. Please.
So here's the thing. And I'm not a theologian. I ran past, divinity school. I hung out long enough to know that I didn't want that either. I hung out long enough to know, nah. Okay. So for me, this is defined by me. You're not going to find this in Spurgeon's work. You're not going to find this. This is just Shelia talking, okay? This your sister. This your sister talking.
First and second Shelia.
Yeah, this is the second Shelia. Right. So I believe that my spirit is in unbroken fellowship with God at all times. My spirit is fine. My spirit is experiencing divine connection all the time. All the time. Where it gets a little challenging is in the realm of my soul.
Yes.
My spirit is how I got here.
Yes.
And my spirit is what's going back. Right? So that's for me. That's me. But let me give you how I define the soul. And we wrote a book. Well, I wrote a book. I gotta stop talking in third person. Why do that? Why church folk do that? Why I'm saying that? I wrote a book. Okay. And here's what I say about the soul. I say, I believe that God can use any life situation or circumstance to bring me into greater awareness of himself. I believe that I have a soul and that I live in a body that houses my spirit. I believe that my spirit is connected to God by the indestructible power of his great love for me. As for the soul, now this is Sheila's definition. As for the soul, I believe that it is comprised of the mind, the will, and emotions, which are informed by my imagination, intellect, and intuition, and transformed by information, practices, and consistency.
Wow.
For me, that's the soul. It's the mind, it's the will, it's my emotions. My mind, my will, and my emotions can be on 1,000, and my spirit still be in perfect fellowship. And here's why I believe that. Because when my mind and my will and my emotions pull me out of alignment with who I am in him, it's my spirit that taps me and says, wait a minute, girl, what you doing? What you doing? You're a daughter. What you doing? You are chosen. You are enough. It's the spirit that reminds me. It's the spirit that brings the word of God back and quickens me. It's not my soul that's doing that. It's my spirit. And so because that channel doesn't have any traffic, I insert traffic when I let my mind, my will, and my emotions trump what my spirit knows to be true. My spirit is always in possession of truth. It's my soul that's wrestling with the lie. It's my soul that's wrestling with the inner critic. My spirit is not in that conversation. And so for me, they are separate. My spirit is separate. It's a separate pathway of power. It's my soul that I have to bring under subjection, right? The Bible talks about casting down your thoughts, every vain imagination. And I changed that scripture. Casting down vain imaginations and every high and lofty thought that is in direct opposition to what I know to be true about God. If my spirit knows what's true,
so good,
then my soul can cast down the imagination. It's me. The Holy Spirit is not coming down to cast the vain imaginations in my mind. That's my work to do. But if I don't know how, or I'm out of practice, or I tried it and it didn't work, or I tried it and it worked for a little while and then I fell off the wagon and now I'm laying in the bathroom floor for 3 days crying, then my soul is aching. My soul is in dis-ease. My spirit is never vexed. Your soul is vexed. Your spirit can forgive. Your spirit can walk away. It's your soul that's ruminating what happened and what she said and how she said and how he left and what he did and what the boss said. It's your soul doing that. That replay that's happening don't have nothing to do with your spirit.
Come on, yeah.
When the spirit shows up, the spirit says, who I am. The spirit is going to speak the word of God to me. It's my soul arguing with my spirit about what's true about me. And it's the soul that needs management. And that's what soul care is about. It's teaching you how to manage your soul. I tell people all the time, get your soul somewhere and sit down. Tell your whole soul to sit down. Tell your raging thoughts and your hot hormones and tell all of that to sit down and see what the spirit has to say.
Sheila, you said a whole lot. I don't even know.
You get me excited and then I'm talking fast. But I love this work. And this is the difference for me between what happens in church and what happens when you leave the altar.
That's right.
This conversation is critical. And your pastor is too busy to do this.
Oh my God. Let me tell you, I have to be so honest right now and transparent. First of all, one of the things that our mission here for Ladies Handle Your Business is so funny. Every time someone hears that title, they're like, oh, this is about starting a business, operating a business and running a business. I'm like, no, that's not what it is. This is about handling your business. You are your business.
You are your business.
You are your business, not all the other stuff. The other stuff will come. But I just want to say, just sitting here listening to all that you said, it's like, I feel like I'm sitting at a table and there's just so much, like a buffet, that you've just put so much, like a Thanksgiving dinner, since Thanksgiving is coming up and you have this, and this. I don't know where to start, right? I don't know. I mean, of course, the turkey, we can start with the turkey, but then you have all the other stuff. I'm getting myself hungry and excited about Thanksgiving. But here's the thing, Sheila, you say it so much, and I know we cannot unpack all of this in this short amount of time. But we're going to take another break here in just a second. And when we come back, for the ladies that are listening and that's struggling today with their mind, their will, and emotions, can you just give us some starting points of this is where you start? There has to be a starting point for everyone. So ladies, stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hello, beautiful ladies. Are you tired of not being happy, not being fulfilled in life, overwhelmed, or out of balance? Are you unsure of life's purpose? Is fear holding you back from walking in your God-given assignment? Are you ready to live a life of wholeness in mind, body, soul, and spirit? You deserve to live a life of abundance, overflow, and achieve the highest level of success in your business, career, finances, relationships, family, marriage, health, mental wellness, and spirituality. Ladies, if you are ready to transform your life, live authentically, and live your best life now, then Ladies Handle Your Business is for you. Join our private Facebook community today because, ladies, your time is now.
Welcome back, ladies. Welcome back to the Ladies Handle Your Business show. We are joined today with our special guest, Shelia Battle, and we are discussing self-care. And I'm just full. Like, I literally just ate a whole meal and I am stuffed. But I know there's so much more. Amanda just ran out to me and she said, I got to follow her on Facebook. Let me tell you, all of our shows that we've had so far, and we've had 7, you're our 8th guest, and they have been so impactful. But this one right here, there's something that I believe that's going to be different about this, that's going to really transform our lives. And there's just so much. So again, before we took that brief commercial break, and I asked, you said so much, but where do we begin? Do we start with the yams? Do we start with the stuffing? Do we start with the turkey? Do we just go, where do we begin? Can we have the dessert first? And what do we do? How do we start?
So this is the work we do. And when we start this process with somebody, we honestly do intake and assessment just like a social worker or a counselor would, because I am clinically trained too. And I want to make sure that this isn't just about good advice, right? That this really is about transformation and equipping you with tools that you can use for the rest of your life. And so where we start in the practice is the emotional wellness toolkit, right? And I'm just going to pop off of my slides because where we always start is with your physical health. So all of the folks who come to us, we recommend a physical. And I know I just jumped from spiritual and all of that right into your body, but we have to get inside your body. There is a distinct difference between people who struggle with mental and emotional wellness because of a chemical imbalance and those who struggle with mental and emotional wellness because they lack tools.
Right.
So if you are a person who has a chemical imbalance, then we want you to take your medicine.
Right. Right.
We want you to take your medicine.
Yeah.
We want you to be accurately diagnosed, and we want your pharmaceutical treatment plan to be what is best for you. Because it's a whole lot easier to do this work if all of that is being taken care of.
Yes.
The other thing that's big is sleep. And I know that that's physical too, but we've got all these smart watches and all of this stuff. We ask people to track their sleep for 7 days because some of the reason why we experience so much fog and instability in our emotions is because we don't rest.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't rest. And there's a difference between being asleep and resting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you can't track that I slept for 7 hours, but my REM was only 5 hours, you got to know that. You got to know that.
Yeah.
The next thing for us is I use a feeling wheel because one of the things that, and we've been doing this work for 25 years.
Yeah.
One of the things that has been consistent is that people don't know how to wrap language around their emotions.
Wow.
So Tanya, when all the stuff was happening this morning, if I had hopped on and said, "Hey girl, how you doing?" You'd be like, "Woo, girl, I'm fine, but woo, I'm so frustrated," and blah, 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 blah. Well, that's not a feeling.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So when you ask women, how are they doing? They say fine. Fine is not a feeling. And when you ask men, how are they doing? They say, "Oh, I'm good." Good ain't a feeling. So we have to see, this is what I'm talking about. You have to unlearn and then you got to relearn. So you got to sit with this feeling wheel and look up some of these words so that you can tell. Because how can you even pray effectively if you don't know what to say and you're using the wrong words?
That's right. Yeah.
Right. So you got to get acquainted with what is my emotional makeup? What are those words? And how do I wrap them around how I'm actually feeling so that I can communicate effectively?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because once you can do that, not only can you tell how you feel, you can tell what you need. You can say what you need. And you can't do that if you're just saying, "Oh, I'm fine," or "I'm tired." Tired is a fact. That's not a feeling. You see what I'm saying? So it's just all of that. And we know you will have what you say. So if you're saying I'm tired, guess what you're going to be? Tired. You can say I'm frustrated. Guess what you're going to be? Frustrated.
Yeah.
And so we got to unlearn and relearn, and we got to unpack how we reference ourselves, how we talk about ourselves, how we address, how we show up in the room. You come home and you're full of, the day, and your husband says, "Hey, babe, what's going on?" and you say, well, so-and-so did this. And no, he didn't ask you that. He said, what's going on with you?
Oh, that's so good.
What's going on with you?
Shelia.
And so what you could say is, you know what? I need 15 minutes.
Why do we do that? That is such a good point. Why do when someone asks us how we're doing, we're unable to really truly answer that? That is such a good point. We do it all the time. I know I do.
Because who modeled that for you? Who would have modeled the alternative for you? Nobody.
Wow.
You do what you do because of habit.
Yeah.
You don't even do what you do because it's right.
Come on.
You do what you do because it's a habit. And so what we do is we help people untangle that. And when people can wrap language around how they feel, they can use effective words to say what they need, then guess what? They can let you off the hook and show you grace.
Yeah.
Because they have learned how to give it to themselves first.
Wow.
So yeah, this isn't and that's why when people say, oh, well, is this a 6-week course? Is this a 5? No, this is the rest of your life.
Come on. That's right. Yeah.
This is about life transformation. This isn't about, oh, buy this book and do this 7-day challenge and then miraculously, and see, that's part of what's wrong. We've been convinced that quick and dirty is right, and it's not. If somebody is telling you they can change your life in 7 days, they lie, and the truth ain't none of them.
That's right. Yes. Wow. And we see that all the time.
Yeah. Everybody wants to, people come to me all the time and say, okay, so I did the 7-day challenge. Now what? Do it again.
Do it again.
Do it again. And do it again. And do it again. And then do it again. And then do it again. Because it's peeling off layers. It's peeling back and exposing. I tell a story in the book where a young lady was like, she met me at a conference and I issued the 7-day challenge. She said she would do it. A month went by and she said, she called me. She said, can I meet you at Starbucks? And I met her and she said, this ain't working.
And
I said, oh, okay. I said, so tell me about what's been going on. So she tells me all this stuff. And I said, can you do me a favor? She said, yes, ma'am. I said, can you call your kids and put it on speaker? And she called the kids and she slid the phone across and I said, hey, babies, this is Auntie Shelia. I said, I just got one question for you. I met your mama a couple of weeks ago. Do you all notice anything different about her? And it was silent for a long time. And then the youngest one said, Mommy doesn't yell as much. And all the kids started laughing. And then they said, yeah, that's true, Ma. You're not quite, you don't come in the house roaring. She couldn't see the difference that it was making. But the ripple of it was unmistakable.
yes.
And her babies mirrored back to her and said, Mommy, this is what we see when we look at you now. This is what, and then she broke down and cried. And then I paid her check and I left because it'll work if you work it.
Yes, that's so good.
And if we weren't so busy trying to reach for mile markers, think about that with weight loss. If you don't lose 5 pounds in 7 days, you give up on the diet, you stop making the shakes, and you go back on the sofa.
Stop making the shakes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We juice and everything. We make all of these chalky shakes. We doing all of this stuff. But what if you just walked every day?
Yeah.
It wasn't about the scale and it wasn't about any of this. And then maybe 3 weeks later, you noticed that you actually felt like cleaning out the garage.
Yes.
And then maybe 4 weeks after that, you actually told your husband, no, babe, I'm gonna clean my own car.
Yeah.
And if you journal what you're doing, then you can go back. We're living epistles read of men. What do? We go back and we read the scriptures, but we don't go back and read us. And so if you could track your journey, then you could look back and see how far you've come instead of always looking ahead about how much further you have to go. And that's what we teach people to do. Celebrate your success along the way. Because it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And it's about all the ways that you are shedding all of what was put on you so that you can fully show up on the planet the way you were supposed to.
Wow. Sheila, so again, I'm still have a buffet in front of me that you Put this
I
out.
just keep throwing stuff on the table.
I know, ladies, we only have a few more minutes with Shelia today left in the show. So if you have a question, go ahead and put it in the comments so that we can read it. A little earlier, Ebony said, yes, I never thought about all that she unpacked. So good. Yes, let me see what else that we have. And Jill said the landscape of your life. So you mentioned that earlier. This is so good. I'm like, wait a minute, I need to come to the battle station. Move in. Tell me and my husband, let's go pack up the dogs. Let's go to the battle station.
So let me talk about that, because the landscape of your life, you know, we're so in the moment sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the difference between depression and anxiety. Either we're stuck in the past or we're so in the moment that we can't get ourselves together, right?
Mm-hmm.
But every now and then, and I tell the folks who come to the battle station for coaching, once a month, you ought to look at the landscape of your life.
Yeah, that's good.
You ought to look across the landscape of your life. We do an exercise with people called At the Table. I hope I get to come back and do this with your ladies, but we do an exercise called At the Table.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we got it finally copywritten, because I had to stop putting all my stuff out, because then people steal your stuff, right?
Right.
My opinion on that is it all belongs to God. And as long as somebody gets help, I'm not mad. But At the Table is an exercise where we give people a table with 8 seats. And the table with 8 seats, the question is asked, who sits at the table of your life? And then we give them another table, because you done started this Thanksgiving thing with the buffet. So let's just go. The second table has 6 seats, and we want to know what sits at the table of your life. And then the last table only has 2 seats. And we call that a soulful conversation. If you could have a conversation with one person, alive or dead, and ask them 3 questions that you knew would change your life, who is that person and what are those questions?
Wow.
So when we say, and I mean, I have seen people heal 20 years worth of trauma at the table. At the table.
At the table. That's so good.
So that landscape of your life. So once we do, because everybody who comes in, we do the exercise at the table, right?
Right. Yeah.
But once a month, you get an assignment where you look across the landscape. You get to go back and look at all these tables. And then you get to think about, well, who's in the room? And what room is this? And who's next door? And who's my neighbor? Is somebody in the driveway? Like you get to look at the landscape of your life. And then you can make decisions about where you're going to source your energy and where you're not.
That's so good. Woo, okay.
I love this stuff. I love this stuff.
You know, one of the questions I had for you was, Shelia, how are you so passionate? Why are you? But your passion comes through. I don't even have to ask that question. I'm sure we all see your passion come.
It makes me high. When I watch a woman get it, when I see a man's heart heals with my eyes, it makes me high. I can't wait to get out of bed in the morning to do this work. It's amazing. It's amazing.
So, ladies, I know that you're probably thinking, oh my goodness, like this 1 hour show is just not long enough to talk about soul care. Well, I have some really good news for you. So number 1, I've already spoken with Shelia about doing a workshop. So we are working on doing a workshop sometime next year. So stay tuned. We'll have more information. But I'm also going to ask Ms. Shelia, we are starting the Journey to Wholeness Academy in April. And so I'm also going to ask Ms. Shelia to be a part of that as well. The Academy is a little bit longer because we're just not talking about soul care. We're going to be talking about a lot of other things that are going to take you onto that journey to wholeness. But Shelia, this has been so good. How do we end a conversation like this? This is so not fair. Like, seriously.
Well, I want to tell your ladies that we have an academy too. We're launching it Black Friday.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We're going to launch the Soul Care Academy on Black Friday.
That's so good.
So find me on social media. 15 Minutes of Grace is on Facebook, Instagram. We're on all the things. But stay tuned for that, because that will allow them to have an opportunity to dig a little deeper. Whatever I do with you would be a scratch of the surface, just like this conversation.
Yeah.
But if they're interested in what is soul care and they want to be part of the academy, And we're going to price it so that it's accessible for everybody, because coming out of COVID, we want everybody who wants this work and wants this content to be able to have it. So just follow me on all the things, and then you'll be first in line for the Soul Care Academy if you want to be part of it.
That's awesome. And can you tell us a little bit about your book and how we can
where's the book? So I wrote a book. So first I did the TED Talk. So I did the TED Talk first. That's what happened first. We did the TED Talk about 15 Minutes of Grace, and it kind of went viral. It went viral on Facebook.
Oh, wow.
The TED Talk is 4 minutes. It's one of the shortest TED Talks on record. And somebody posted it on Facebook, the whole thing, and it went viral on Facebook. So then we had to write a book, because I was like, I can't go to Germany, and I can't go to Wuxi, China, and I can't go to, so book. So that the message of 15 Minutes of Grace, and you can go on Amazon or go to my website, sheilabattle.com.
Okay. We'll put that in the comments. Shelia, thank you so very much for
You're welcome so much.
Hour with us today. This has been a very good conversation, very good interview, so impactful and inspiring and encouraging. Like, I want to learn more. So I can't wait to get back in contact with you so we can take this journey further for myself as well as the ladies that are watching today. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. Join us right back here next Saturday at 11 a.m. as we talk about identity with Isik Alba. We'll see you later. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend. Take care, and we love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.